Alright, so after 5 years of anticipation, Kendrick is finally back with a double album. Not just a normal album, a double album. Mr. Morale and The Big Steppers. Honestly, I had no expectations coming into this project, considering this is, and you're not gonna believe me, my first time listening to a Kendrick album. So as a Kendrick virgin, I didn't really know what I was in for. Besides, I don't know, a kinda conscious album, but that's about it. K-Dot dropped a single, The Heart Part 5, on Monday, I think, I'm not sure. But I thought it was pretty enjoyable, you know? I was kind of blown away by just how much of a statement the track was. I think this song completely fulfilled its potential, especially with the amazing music video attached to it. It also kind of felt like an update on all of the events that occurred between Kendrick's last album and the current day. You know, Kobe dying, Nipsey dying, the Jussie Smollett incident. Those are all events which Kendrick has not yet touched on, and in that song he kind of got all that out of the way. It seems to me like Kendrick set it up so the album itself wouldn't have to fulfill the expectations everybody may have had for him to address all of those events that occurred. Mr. Morale and The Big Steppers isn't this big statement on how the world is and how it's supposed to be and how we should fix it. It's just about Kendrick. He's just venting for the most part. And you can tell that he even feels guilty for doing that at some points. So we start off with disc 1, The Big Steppers, and I absolutely love the intro to this disc. United in Grief, great track. It gets you invested in the album right away, and I love when those loud ass drums kick in. To me, the drums kind of symbolize the Big Steppers. They produce this marching sound and they stay relentless even as the piano kicks in, sort of announcing their arrival as the intro of disc 1 unfolds. But Kendrick himself on this track is hungry, his flows are great, it sounds amazing, everything is just here on this track, and it's perfect to get you excited for the album, if The Heart Part 5 didn't already do that. We then have the second banger in a row with N95. Again, love the beat on this one. At first I was skeptical because the lyrics in the beginning kind of sound like the start of a Joyner Lucas song, but the narrative ties up nicely as you go deeper in the track. Kendrick on this track is calling out everybody who hides behind their personal possessions, political opinions, and so on. Like, that's not really you. Take all of that off and you're not gonna be the same person. 2 tracks in, it was already clear to me that Kendrick has not lost a step. Like, it has been 5 years since his last project, and he has effortlessly adapted to the sounds of 2022 without sounding awkward or like he's trying too hard. Without a doubt, Kendrick still has it. Now, arguably, even though we start with 2 trap bangers, I think along with Silent Hill, these are the only trap songs we get on the entire album. Even though I didn't care for Silent Hill as much as I did for the first 2 tracks, it still has a great hook, and I feel like it has a lot of TikTok potential, which in 2022, if you're making music, you need that TikTok potential. Another cut I was pretty much indifferent on is Die Hard. Personally, this is an underwhelming track. I don't think it's bad by any means, and it's not even necessarily a miss. It does a good job carrying on the narrative of the album, but sonically, it's just not on the same level as the other tracks. The hook is kinda bland, and the whole song is just not that memorable as a result of that. We then get the song Father Time, which, man, this is song of the year for me. This made me choke up, genuinely. Like, on every level, a stunning song. The message, the sound, the emotion, amazing hook, amazing instrumental. What more can you ask for? And Kendrick does a great job making the sentiments of the track easy to understand and digest. This is probably the most focused track on disc 1, along with Worldwide Steppers, which touches on cancel culture. We some killers walking zombies trying to scratch that itch. Hide your eyes, then pose for the pic. I mean, he's talking on this one. He's talking in almost a spoken word manner. And even though this isn't really the first time I've heard someone talk about this topic like this, I feel like it's necessary coming from Kendrick, considering his reputation as an activist. The people he's criticizing here are most likely fans of him, so even though they may not want to hear it, they're gonna listen. In the latter half of disc 1, we get Rich Interlude and Rich Spirit, which are 2 hits for me. Rich Spirit is an absolute bopper. Love the West Coast influence. The album up to this point is so intense, and Rich Spirit is just here to relax you from all of the intense moments so far. But Rich Interlude, and this is a hot take probably, this is one of the best songs on the entire album. This is so cinematic. It's just, you know, Kodak Black on a Beethoven type beat, which in itself sounds fucking hard. But he's just talking his shit over this rising piano. The pacing, the sound, I don't know, it's hard to even describe, but it's just like an epic moment on the album. And I love it. I personally love it. To round out disc 1, we get We Cry Together and Purple Hearts, and I'll just get Purple Hearts out of the way right now. This is the weakest song on the entire album. It's slow, it's boring. I guess it's kind of a smooth R&B cut, even though I don't even know what defines as R&B anymore. That genre is so oversaturated at this point, but I digress. Ghostface Killah verses, I guess it's well written, but Ghostface Killah just sounds like he got teleported from 1997 onto Kendrick's album, you know? But let's just focus on We Cry Together because this is the one everyone has been talking about. Where do I even start? When I heard the instrumental to this song, I thought I accidentally clicked on a Griselda song, but no, this one is produced by The Alchemist, you know? Great to see Kendrick and Alchemist coming together on this one, which basically throws you in the middle of an argument between two people in a very toxic relationship, voiced by Kendrick and this amazing female vocalist. I don't know what her name is. I think it's Taylor Page. It's Taylor Page. Even though this premise has been done before, the performances are so breathtaking and the writing is so good that the originality does not even come into play here. And the beat just perfectly illustrates how ugly this relationship is. The instrumental itself makes you feel uncomfortable, as if the argument wasn't enough. All in all, this track does a great job showcasing how the toxic relationship cycle unfolds. So going into disc 2, there isn't really one sound defining this album. It seems like Kendrick didn't really want to limit himself to one sound or one style, and because of that, the album is less cohesive, but I feel like the entertainment value is higher as a result. The narrative is also kinda loose. You have tracks that don't really fit the track list, but I feel like that was done intentionally to provide variety and ultimately keep you interested all throughout the album. In my opinion, if you're making an hour and 20-minute long conceptual album in 2022, this is a good way to go about doing it. Moving on to disc 2, Mr. Morale, it gives us more personal and introspective moments, but doesn't really separate itself from disc 1 all that much. We get more bangers like Mr. Morale and Count Me Out, which kind of sounds like a Kanye song. But Kendrick is pretty much touching on similar themes he was touching on disc 1. The only difference being Kendrick's mindset, where he is less egotistical and opening up more. It's like the hip-hop equivalent to someone making a breakthrough in therapy, but still experiencing hiccups along the way. We get another two-parter on disc 2 with Savior Interlude and Savior, and I think this interlude hits just as hard as the Kodak one. Baby Keem absolutely killed this. My uncle would tell me the shit in the movies could only be magic. This year I did 43 shows and took it all home to buy him a casket. And again, the song lives up to the interlude because with Savior, we arguably get the biggest club banger on the entire LP. I mean, when Kendrick hits that Benaki, that shit just makes you want to move. Not only does this track go insanely hard, it also serves as sort of an extension of Worldwide Steppers, where he's again addressing people only being pro-black when it fits their narrative, like when they pro-black but I'm more Kodak black. I don't know about you, but I like the way Kenny spoke on cancel culture. I feel like he didn't overstate his sentiments. He didn't really force his narrative upon anybody. He's just gently putting it out there. I feel like you can't really be mad at what he's saying right here. One protest for you, 365 for me. I mean, he's talking on this one. Speaking of cancel culture, Kendrick came into some hot water because of the slurs he used on Auntie, Diaries, which is a powerful song. Keep in mind, Kendrick is trying to appeal to a hip-hop audience here. So this isn't just any Lil Nas X, I'm preaching to the choir but still give me my flowers type of situation. It's really brave for Kendrick to take a stand on a real hip-hop record. Kendrick's storytelling is just so impressive and the whole song is just beautiful. Some people are criticizing his use of the slur, and considering the context of the song, I'm pretty sure most of them haven't even heard it, because I can't imagine how someone would be angry at this considering what this song means. Like, this is the first ever mainstream rapper taking a stand for trans rights, and you're gonna be mad at him? Well, he could have just not used the slur. Well, that's not how art works. You can't just take some shit out and leave some shit in. Especially considering the whole song is literally centered around the usage of the slur. Taking it out would literally take away the whole point of the song. To cap this album off, we get another very powerful and emotional song with Mother Ice Sober. In my opinion, this is obviously the climax of the album. I feel like all the previous songs played a part in him discovering the root of the issue on this track. All the previous tracks could be interpreted as Kenny's ego speaking, showcasing all the different ways we cope, or he coped. I mean, the track is stunning, it's uncomfortably honest, it's authentic in every way possible. I really want to give Kendrick his props for being so open on this album, because today it's hard to find that in the mainstream. This song gave me chills. It's a harrowing listen. How about that word? That's how good the song is. After the climax of the album, we have the outro Mirror, which I'm pretty much indifferent on this one as a song, but it sort of serves as Kendrick's conclusion after facing the truth. He needs to live for himself despite the pressure of being an example, a role model. So yes, this album ends off on a really strong note. All in all, I do have to say I prefer disc 1 to disc 2. While disc 2 has more emotional moments, disc 1 has more hard-hitting ones. In any case, the pacing on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is exceptional. I wasn't bored for a second over the hour and 13-minute runtime of the project. And there's so many layers to it, I would really need to let it sit for another week to make a formal decision on it. But hey, we're on YouTube, so here we are. To conclude this review, I think Kendrick achieved perfect balance with this project. There's some bangers on it, there's some emotional cuts. He satisfied the hardcore fans and the casual listeners. There's something for everybody on this project without sacrificing too much artistic integrity. I'm feeling a cool 8 out of 10 for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Let me know how you feel about it. Drop a like, subscribe, and get ready for part 3 coming this week. You're not ready for it. The greatest video of 2022, I swear to God.